Have you ever stood frozen, heart pounding, as someone blindsided you with a snide remark in front of everyone, leaving you speechless, humiliated, and burning with the sting of disrespect? Or maybe it was a sarcastic joke that wasn't funny at all, one that landed like a slap, making others laugh while you felt small. In moments like that, have you ever asked yourself, how should I respond without losing my cool, or worse, my dignity? You're not alone. We've all been there. But here's the twist. What if I told you that those moments, yes, even the worst ones, can become powerful tools to earn genuine respect, not just from the person who disrespected you, but from everyone watching? Let's be clear. This video isn't about clapping back or coming up with the perfect insult. No, what you're about to discover is much more powerful. Subtle, intelligent strategies rooted in the timeless wisdom of Stoic philosophy. Tactics that will help you rise, not react. We're going to explore how to respond with calm strength when someone tests your limits in public, and more importantly, how to create an atmosphere where people naturally respect you without you needing to demand it. But first, let's ask the bigger question. Why do these disrespectful situations happen in the first place? Often, it's not about hatred or personal grudges. Instead, it's about opportunism. Some people try to elevate themselves by making others look weak. It's a psychological shortcut, an illusion of dominance. You'll see it in boardrooms, at dinner tables, even among supposed friends. Someone throws a passive-aggressive jab, hoping to draw laughter or admiration at your expense. It's a power play. But here's the key. Power doesn't lie in loud words. It lies in silent strength. And that's where Stoicism comes in. The ancient Stoics taught that respect is not something you force from others. It's something you attract through the way you conduct yourself, through boundaries, through presence, through grace under pressure. The philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That strength, the kind that doesn't shout but radiates, becomes your greatest weapon in any social battle. It's not about fighting fire with fire. It's about mastering your own flame. So today, we'll walk through step-by-step techniques that you can use to transform uncomfortable encounters into defining moments of self-respect. And we'll show you how to build a reputation so solid, so unshakable, that people will think twice before ever trying to undermine you again. Because true power doesn't need to prove itself. It simply is. Now let's break this down. Why do these moments happen to you, and how do you stop them from repeating? Stay with me. It gets deeper from here. Previously, we explored how silent strength, rooted in Stoic calmness, can help you navigate moments of public disrespect. Now let's move from concept to action, because knowing is one thing, but doing, especially when emotions flare, is the true test of inner control. Let's dive into the first key strategy in earning respect silently: mastering your first impression. Tip 1. First impressions matter more than you think. It's often said, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. And the Stoics, even 2,000 years ago, understood this truth deeply. But here's what most people get wrong. First impressions aren't just about what you say. In fact, it's mostly about what you do, how you move, how you carry yourself, how you make others feel in those first few seconds. Picture this. You walk into a professional networking event. The room is buzzing with conversation. A well-dressed executive notices you, walks over confidently, and extends a hand for a handshake. But instead of rising, you stay seated. You glance at their hand, then offer a quick shake without even making full eye contact. That moment, barely 5 seconds long, has already spoken volumes, and not in your favor. Unintentionally, you've signaled a lack of engagement, maybe even indifference. To them, it may feel like the interaction doesn't matter to you. And in a room where impressions are currency, that's a high cost to pay. On the surface, it seems like a small detail. But the truth, these small gestures form the unspoken language of respect. And the Stoics knew this. They taught that your outer behavior is a reflection of your inner values. Marcus Aurelius didn't just write about abstract philosophy. He practiced it in how he greeted slaves and senators alike, always with full attention and quiet dignity. When you stand up to greet someone, you're not just being polite. You're sending a clear message. I see you. I value this moment. I carry myself with awareness and respect. This is what the Stoics called living with intention, and intention radiates power. Let me share a real story. I once attended a professional seminar filled with ambitious minds. Everyone was there to network, exchange ideas, maybe spark new opportunities. Among dozens of attendees, one man stood out, and not because of flashy clothes or loud talk. Every time he met someone, whether it was a CEO or a staff member pouring coffee, he stood up. He smiled. He looked them in the eye. And he listened. It wasn't over the top. It wasn't calculated. It was natural, grounded, and powerful. People gravitated toward him, not because of his title, not because of some viral resume, but because he projected presence, the kind that commands respect without saying a word. In contrast, another participant remained seated during every greeting. He didn't mean to be dismissive. It was just habit. He was intelligent, articulate, even kind, but he was overlooked. Why? Because those tiny silent signals added up. Without realizing it, he created emotional distance. In a setting where energy and presence mattered, he faded into the background. The lesson is clear. Standing up isn't just about manners. It's about meaning. It shows you value others. But equally important, it shows you value yourself enough to show up fully in the moment. Stoic application. Control the controllable. This is where Stoicism shines. The Stoics didn't waste time worrying about things beyond their control, what others thought, how they'd be judged. They focused on one thing: mastering their own behavior. You can't control someone's opinion of you. But you can control whether you rise to greet them, whether you look them in the eyes, whether you make them feel seen. And that's where real respect begins. So next time you're introduced to someone, no matter their rank, stand up. Make eye contact. Offer your hand with calm confidence. These are not just gestures. They are quiet declarations. I am present. I am grounded. I am someone you will remember. As we discussed earlier, the way you present yourself, through even the smallest gestures, can silently demand respect. Now let's dig deeper into how these subtle actions shape your influence and how to stay composed when others try to steal your moment. Your behavior is your silent language. Use it wisely. In the world of Stoicism, true influence starts not with grand speeches or dramatic moves, but with presence. Presence in how you behave, in how you communicate your value without ever needing to say, "Respect me." This begins in the simplest of settings. Not during life-changing interviews or big speeches, but in everyday interactions, at the office, at a cafe, in a virtual meeting. So, here's what you do. Be present, fully present. Stand up when greeting someone. Look them directly in the eyes. Let your body posture reflect confidence. Upright, open, calm. These aren't just social niceties. They're powerful affirmations of your worth. They say, I take myself seriously and you should too. That's the Stoic way. Living with intention and making every small action reflect your values. Because in a world that's always watching, it's not always the loudest voice that wins. It's the most grounded one. So next time someone enters your space, whether it's a stranger, a colleague, or even an old friend, rise to the occasion. Literally. Stand up, meet their eyes, speak volumes without a word. Or, then second tip, when someone interrupts you in public, let your eyes do the talking. Now let's move to a situation we've all faced. You're in the middle of sharing an idea, maybe during a meeting or telling a story at a dinner, and someone cuts you off. Frustrating, isn't it? You've got something valuable to say. And just as your words begin to form meaning, someone else, louder, quicker, derails the moment. It's tempting to snap, to raise your voice, or to interrupt right back. But here's the thing, anger doesn't win respect. Composure does. Stoic philosophy steps in here with a powerful response. Control yourself, not the other. When you're interrupted, don't lash out. Instead, pause. Turn to the person calmly. Fix your gaze, not with anger, but with calm focus. No sarcasm, no scolding, just silence and presence. It's incredible how effective this is. A steady, confident gaze creates a natural pressure. The other person, often subconsciously, realizes they've overstepped. It gives them a moment to reflect, without you saying a single word. Let me share a quick example. One time during a family dinner, I was telling a lighthearted story. Right in the middle, a relative jumped in, steering the conversation away. I felt that brief flash of irritation, the urge to speak louder, to grab the moment back. But instead I stopped. I turned to them. I looked at them directly, calmly. No tension in my face, just a silent pause. The table quieted. They glanced at me, then gently motioned for me to continue. That moment taught me more than any book could. Power doesn't always roar. Sometimes it simply waits. So remember this, when you're interrupted, your silence can be louder than any protest. Your gaze becomes your guardrail. In the previous section, we saw how a simple, steady gaze can send a powerful message when someone interrupts you. Without needing to raise your voice or retaliate, you regain your space with poise and calm strength. Now, let's continue that thread and discover how to assert yourself after the silence. That silent moment, just a few seconds, carried more impact than any angry words ever could. The person who interrupted me quickly realized they had crossed a line. Their body language shifted. They became more reserved, more thoughtful. And just like that, the balance of the conversation shifted back into my hands. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't shame anyone. I simply stayed grounded. The rest of the evening flowed smoothly. I had reclaimed control, not through dominance, but through presence. And that's what Stoicism teaches us. True influence doesn't need volume. It just needs alignment between your actions and your values. This technique works especially well in group or public settings. Why? Because people are always observing, and when they see someone handle disrespect with grace, they don't just admire it, they remember it. Instead of reacting emotionally, Stoicism teaches us to remain calm, to use tools like posture, silence, and eye contact. These become instruments of strength, not submission. Now, here's where it gets even more effective. Once the interruption is passed and your gaze has set the boundary, it's important to take the next step with clarity. Resume your point. A phrase as simple as, "Let me pick up where I left off," does more than just bring the conversation back. It reminds everyone that your voice matters, and you're not afraid to use it with quiet confidence. And here's something crucial. This isn't about embarrassing the other person. It's not about payback. The goal is to calmly reinforce that mutual respect in communication is non-negotiable. What makes this approach so powerful is its subtlety. You don't need aggression. You don't need to outtalk anyone. Just stay calm. Let your actions and words align. People will notice. And more importantly, they will adjust. When others see you maintain control in a difficult moment, they not only respect you more, they reflect on their own behavior. They begin to learn, consciously or not, that you are not someone to belittle or interrupt without consequence. This is one of Stoicism's most profound teachings. Real power is rooted in self-mastery, not dominance. Even in uncomfortable moments, your calm becomes your command. So the next time someone interrupts you in a group or conversation, don't lose your cool. Hold your ground. Let the silence speak first, then speak with clarity and purpose, not to win, but to show that you value yourself and expect others to do the same. The third tip, when someone tries to humiliate you with a joke in front of friends. Now let's look at a slightly different, but just as common scenario. You're with a group of friends. Things are lighthearted. Everyone's laughing. Then, out of nowhere, someone cracks a joke at your expense. It might be a story from the past, a nickname, a moment they know you're embarrassed about. The group erupts with laughter, and suddenly all eyes are on you. Your first instinct? Embarrassment. Maybe even anger. You feel your face heat up. The urge to fire back is strong. But stop right there. This is exactly the kind of moment where Stoicism becomes your armor. The Stoics remind us, if something doesn't harm your essence, it's not worth your emotional energy. Let me tell you a real moment from my life. A few years ago, I attended a casual reunion with some old classmates. Over drinks and stories, one friend decided to retell an embarrassing event from our school days, one that had made me the butt of the joke back then. He exaggerated every detail. The group roared with laughter. At first, I felt it, the sting. My ego flared up. My tongue wanted to retaliate. But then I remembered, what is this moment, really? Just noise. It cannot define me unless I let it. So instead of reacting, I smiled calmly. I let them laugh. Then I looked him in the eye, nodded slightly, and said something simple like, "Yeah, that was wild. And look how far we've all come since." Suddenly the mood shifted. The conversation moved on. My response had deflated the moment, not with defensiveness, but with quiet dignity. I didn't deny the story. I didn't beg for approval. I took ownership of it on my own terms. And in doing so, I stayed in control of my image without ever needing to defend it. That is Stoicism in action. In the last part, we explored how humor, when used as a weapon, can be disarmed with quiet strength and composure. Now let's look at a surprisingly subtle way to flip the dynamic, not with anger or sarcasm, but with a calm and clever move. Easy. So, how did I handle that embarrassing story meant to humiliate me? I smiled gently, pretending as if I hadn't heard it clearly, and then, calmly and almost curiously, I asked the person to repeat it. Sorry, I didn't catch that. What did you say again? And here's the fascinating part. The moment he had to repeat the joke, its power crumbled. What once sparked loud laughter now felt forced. The energy in the group shifted. People began to sense something was off. The momentum faded. Even the storyteller started to fumble, his tone uncertain, the joke losing steam halfway through. Why? Because jokes designed to embarrass only land well when they catch you off guard, when you react. But when you show that you're unfazed, even curious, it takes the sting away. You reclaim control, not with aggression, but with a subtle invitation to reveal the weakness of their own humor. This tactic works brilliantly because it removes the shock value of the joke, forces the speaker to reflect on what they just said, makes others aware of the awkwardness of the moment. Most importantly, it shows everyone that you are unshaken. You didn't fire back. You didn't storm off. You simply made it clear, I'm not bothered. I'm still in control. That's the Stoic way, meeting disrespect not with retaliation, but with quiet mastery over yourself. So how do you apply this principle effectively in real life? Start with this key understanding. You don't need to react immediately. In fact, the ability to pause, to take a breath, assess, and then choose your response is one of your greatest tools. The second tool? Silence. Silence, when used intentionally, is not weakness. It's space. Space that creates tension. Space that invites others to reconsider their actions. And finally, when you do choose to speak, speak with calm confidence. Could you repeat that for me? Said with neutral tone and relaxed energy, it does more than any defensive outburst ever could. You're not challenging them. You're giving them a mirror. And most people don't like what they see. This is one of the most powerful lessons from Stoic philosophy. Your reactions shape your reality more than the actions of others ever could. When you remain calm, you maintain your dignity, earn the respect of everyone in the room, and reinforce your own self-worth. So the next time someone tries to mock or provoke you in public, remember this. You have full control over how the story ends. And when you meet it with calmness and clarity, you always come out stronger. The tip 4, handling provocation with psychological grace. Now let's take it a step further. What if someone isn't just teasing, but is deliberately trying to provoke you? You've been there, right? You're at a family gathering. A relative, perhaps emboldened by the crowd, makes a sharp, cutting remark aimed right at you. It's disguised as a joke, but the intent is clear. What do you do? Before we answer that, let's first shift into the Vietnamese version, where we retell this part of the story and its lesson. In the last segment, we saw how calm composure and psychological redirection can silence mockery. But what if the attack hits a deeper wound, something personal, painful, even humiliating? CDW'd imagine this. You're at a cozy family gathering. The mood is light, laughter is flowing, and people are catching up. Suddenly, someone throws out a pointed remark, something sharp and deliberate. Well, not everyone's career worked out, right? Some people peaked in college. Ouch. It's one of those comments. The kind that slices deep, touching on a part of your life you've worked hard to move past. In an instant, the atmosphere changes. Conversations pause. Every eye turns to you, waiting to see your reaction. You feel the heat rise in your chest. A comeback rushes to your lips. But you don't take the bait. Instead, you pause. You take a slow breath. Then, with a completely neutral tone, you say, "Hey, does anyone know a good bakery around here? I've been craving something sweet lately. Maybe I'll bring something for the next get-together." Silence. Confusion. Then, laughter. But not the mocking kind. The moment shifts. Someone mentions a place nearby. Others chime in. Just like that, the conversation is moving. Away from you, away from the jab, and into safer, lighter territory. And the person who tried to provoke you left awkwardly clutching a failed punchline. No battle. No drama. No emotional fallout. That's the brilliance of this technique. What you did wasn't random. It was intentional. By asking an unrelated question, casual, friendly, non-defensive, you didn't just change the subject. You took back control of the emotional tone in the room. You redirected energy away from the attack. And in doing so, you preserved your power. This tactic is more than just clever. It's a textbook example of Stoic philosophy in action. Focus on what you can control. Don't let external noise disturb your inner peace. Refuse to be baited into emotional chaos. As Epictetus wisely said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. By calmly inserting a harmless question into a tense moment, you do two powerful things. 1. You throw the instigator off their rhythm. They can't continue the attack without looking petty. 2. You maintain your poise, demonstrating emotional maturity without needing to explain or defend. To use this strategy well, a few things matter. Keep it natural. Your tone should be relaxed, not rehearsed. If it sounds fake or forced, people will notice. Be subtle. Choose questions or observations that feel casual and fit the environment, like commenting on the food, the weather, a local event. Don't dodge, redirect. The goal isn't to act clueless or avoid the situation awkwardly, but to shift the spotlight gently and firmly. When done right, this technique not only protects your peace, it elevates your image. People around you will notice your grace under fire. Over time, this becomes part of your reputation. Someone who doesn't get rattled. Someone who can't be dragged down. And that is the kind of self-respect Stoicism teaches us to build. Not through control of others, but through mastery of ourselves. In the previous section, we learned how a simple, unrelated question can elegantly diffuse provocation and shift the emotional balance in your favor. Now let's anchor this lesson in one of the most profound Stoic principles: focusing on what you can control. Aginam. You can't control the way others behave. You can't force someone to respect you, to be kind, or to hold their tongue. But what you can control is how you choose to respond. And in that choice, you reclaim your power. Every time you choose not to be pulled into someone else's chaos, every time you resist the temptation to react emotionally, you are reinforcing your inner strength and self-respect. You're sending a clear, silent message. You don't get to dictate my emotions. I decide how this moment unfolds. So next time someone tries to poke, provoke, or pull you down with words designed to sting, pause. Then ask something totally unrelated. Hey, did anyone catch the score of last night's game? By the way, where's the best place to get coffee around here? Watch how the mood shifts. The attacker loses momentum. The group releases the tension. and you stay calm, untouched, unbothered, unwavering. This isn't just clever, it's powerful. As Marcus Aurelius wisely put it, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. And when you master this strength, you don't just avoid conflict. You command deeper respect. People see you not as weak, but as grounded. Unshakable, someone who leads themselves. Now let's move to the fifth and final tip, when to walk away. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt invisible? Maybe your efforts went unnoticed. Your voice was constantly talked over. Or worse, your presence was tolerated, not valued. It's a lonely, disheartening place to be. But here's a truth that Stoic philosophy teaches us clearly. Walking away doesn't mean weakness. It means you know your worth. Let me share a real story. My friend Sarah is one of the most creative professionals I know. Brilliant, thoughtful, and hardworking. She once joined a high-profile project in her company, eager to contribute her talents. But instead of being welcomed, she was repeatedly undermined by her manager. In meetings, her ideas were dismissed without reason. When she spoke, she was interrupted. Her work was rarely acknowledged, and her confidence began to erode. At first, Sarah doubled her efforts. She stayed late, took on extra tasks, hoping that one day her dedication would be noticed, that her voice would finally be heard, but it wasn't. Then came the breaking point. During yet another team meeting, Sarah offered a well-thought-out idea, and once again, her manager brushed it aside, this time with a smirk, not even pretending to care. That was the moment. Sarah closed her laptop slowly, looked around the room, and with a calm, unwavering tone said, "I think it's time I put my energy into a place where it's valued." She stood up, walked out, and that same day, she submitted her resignation, not in rage, not with drama, but with quiet resolve, as an act of self-preservation. A few months later, Sarah joined another company, this time in a leadership role. There, she wasn't just heard, she was celebrated. Her ideas shaped projects. Her voice carried weight, because she chose not to fight for respect in a place that refused to give it. That's the essence of walking away. Not escape, but elevation. When you walk away from people who drain you, from rooms where you're only tolerated, not respected, you're not giving up. You're choosing growth. You're choosing dignity. You're choosing you. Stoic philosophy reminds us you are not obliged to stay where you are diminished. Your energy is sacred. Invest it where it grows. In the last section, we saw how walking away can be an act of quiet strength, a way to honor your self-worth without shouting for attention. Now let's go deeper into what that act truly means and how it perfectly embodies Stoic wisdom. Walking away is not weakness. On the contrary, it's one of the strongest decisions you can make. Because when you walk away from disrespect, from chaos, or from environments that diminish your spirit, you're not running, you're rising. You're making a clear statement. I know my worth, and I choose not to stay where it's ignored. That's the heart of Stoic philosophy. The only true power you ever fully possess is the power over your own mind, your thoughts, your choices, and your responses. You can't force someone to respect you, but you can absolutely choose not to stay in a place where that respect is consistently withheld. And here's the most powerful truth. Walking away isn't about proving anything to anyone else. It's not about making a scene, getting revenge, or leaving them with regrets. It's about you, and only you. It's a deeply personal decision. Quiet, firm, unapologetic. It's the moment when you say to yourself, I am no longer available for environments that treat me like I'm optional. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Choosing to stay in a place where you are devalued is not humility, it's self-abandonment. But choosing to leave, that's self-respect in motion. So how do you know when it's time to walk away? It's when every effort you've made to earn respect is met with cold indifference. It's when you've voiced your thoughts, offered your best, and tried with honesty, only to be ignored, dismissed, or belittled. Don't wait until your self-esteem is in ruins. Listen to yourself. Trust your gut. And when the signs are clear, choose courage over comfort. Because sometimes being an absence that's respected is far more powerful than being a presence that's constantly diminished. Walking away isn't surrender. It's setting boundaries. Stoicism doesn't just teach us how to stay calm, it teaches us how to guard our value. To walk away is not to give up. It's to recognize when a space no longer deserves your light. So the next time you find yourself feeling unseen, unappreciated, or slowly fading in an environment that doesn't honor your contributions, remember, you don't have to stay. You don't need their validation. You already hold the only validation that truly matters, your own. Respect isn't something you beg for. It's something you build by how you treat yourself and what you choose to walk away from. And now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever had to walk away from something that didn't value you? Have you ever chosen inner peace over external approval? Share your story below. Your courage may inspire someone who's still finding their voice. And if you made it all the way through this video, comment, I can do it. Let it be a signal to yourself and to this growing community that you're committed to your growth. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and check out the next 2 videos I've handpicked for you. They'll help you keep building the strength, clarity, and self-respect that Stoic wisdom offers. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.